I did not know that Mattel was making figures this good for Masters of the Universe nowadays. I just did not know.
I could write a book about what you don't know.
Hello everyone, it is Briximus Prime, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Masterverse line, Masters of the Universe Revelations, Skelegod. And if none of you know the context behind Skelegod here, basically in the Masters of the Universe Revelation Netflix series, Skeletor, spoilers, gets his hands on the power sword, you know, the sword that makes Prince Adam turn into He-Man, and instead he imbues himself with the powers of Grayskull and becomes Skelegod. So basically with the powers of He-Man, this is what Skeletor looks like, which is what emphasizes the H and a lot of the armored up bits. So anyway, pretty interesting concept. Really like this figure. This is my first figure from the Masterverse line. So anyway, let's just get right on into the review by starting with the packaging. Very nice looking packaging here. Window showcasing the figure inside. Says Masters of the Universe Revelation, Skelegod. Netflix. Says Masterverse. Says he has 30 points of articulation. Says his name is Skelegod. And then here on the side, we got some very nice artwork of Skelegod there on the back. I really like the artwork they have on this on their packaging for Masterverse. Here on the back, you got that image again, and then it's got a nice readout of Skelegod right back there. And that's basically about it for the packaging. So, you know, let's get rid of this.
Be sure to subscribe, you insolent fools!
As for the Masters of the Universe Revelation show that Skelegod comes from, honestly, the first episode was actually really good and was a pretty good homage to the original Masters of the Universe, and even a good continuation. But after the first episode, the whole thing spiraled downhill and was not all that great. But how great could it be if it was directed by fake fans? And here is all of the accessories included with Skelegod here. Obviously, he comes with the power sword, which is, you know, the classic He-Man sword. This is the same sword included with those He-Man figures. I like the silver there on the blade, and then it's cast out of this gray plastic with some nice brown on the handle. Very nice. He also comes with a pair of open hands, very nice armored up claws and everything on these hands. I like the way how the palms and everything were sculpted. He's also got a pair of grabby hands, so very nice looking as well. And then he comes with this green magic fireball piece that you can stick on to his hand, so it looks like he's got magic, or if he has like a flame punch, something like that. So that's really it for the accessories. And there isn't really anywhere to store them on the figure other than, you know, putting the hands on, but like the sword and this don't really have anywhere to go. Technically, Skelegod's cape you could also consider a separate accessory. It does come off. It just hooks on to these little hooks that hook on to this little back strap back here. And that is, you know, one of the accessories that you can have with this figure. And also, the cape is actually made out of this, like, felt material. Like, it's kind of an interesting material they chose for the cape. But it makes it look good, and it's like a layered cape with these little plastic bits on the end, and it's actually a pretty neat looking cape. I really like it. But you can consider this an accessory because it's removable. And taking a closer look at Skelegod, I love the head sculpt. I'm just right off the bat, I like how they made his helmet/head look kind of like his own Havoc staff with the purple goat horns kind of coming on the side. I really like how that came out. I like the silver crest and the skull with the gnashing of teeth and the beady eyes. It's really intimidating, and I love the way how it came out. It's kind of weird looking, but I like the flaming neck here. And obviously it looks a lot different in the animation, but it looks really good here on figure form. I think they executed it pretty well. And then here on the shoulder pads, I like how he's got the shoulders here with the big spiked shoulders. The bits of green really highlight throughout the figure. It's cast out of this bluish plastic, and it's all painted. The blue plastic is painted up in this dark wash. He's also got the big cut out of the H on his chest to kind of emphasize that he's now He-Man, even though he's just using the powers of He-Man, but because the H gets put onto He-Man's chest, it makes sense that when he uses it, the H still gets put on here, almost like the sword's being tricked that he is Prince Adam. I like the gauntlets here. Again, there's like little skull faces that you can like see throughout the armor. Like these look like beetles, these ones just look like skulls, this one looks like a bird. And then like down here on the shins, this one looks like a skull, which his feet look pretty good. I like his legs and all the straps and the paint and everything just looks really good overall on this figure. And again, the back looks pretty good as well. So very nice details on the figure. Again, I love the concept of Skeletor turning into this, and he gets the powers of Grayskull. But sadly, this guy is the only good part of Masters of the Universe Revelation. Just like the original Masters of the Universe. Just like the original Masters of the Universe series, Skeletor is the best part of Revelations, which is a real shame because he barely shows up in the show as much as I would like him to. Going over Skelegod's articulation, he has a ball joint and a hinge at the base of the neck, which allows for some head pivoting. He also can pivot his head side to side. Since it's on the ball joint, it can rotate a full 360, and he can look up a little bit and down quite a bit. His shoulders can rotate forward that far. They can rotate back that far. These are a pliable material on the shoulder pads. Arm can move out that far. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows that bend in pretty far. All the wrists rotate and hinge up and down. Diaphragm joint, which allows for an arcing back, a crunch, little bit of diaphragm pivot, not really any waist swiveling, but thankfully he has a waist swivel proper. Hips can kick forward that far, they can kick back not that far, they can move outward, he does have a thigh swivel. Double jointed knees, which bend pretty well, it's just some of them are kind of tight out of the box, be wary of that. These calves can swivel, ankles can hinge up and down, and then he gets a nice ankle pivot. So pretty good articulation here on Skelegod. I just overall love the entire amount of just articulation, which is complemented by the musculature and the detail just all across the figure. Just really good with how the figure came out looks-wise. Now, I do want it to be known that I'm not a huge, very, very dedicated Masters of the Universe fan. So some of you in the comments or some of you watching this might be like,
Silence, you furry fool! I've had it with your whining and bumbling.
But I at least want it to be known I am a hardcore Skeletor fan. Skeletor is my favorite character from Masters of the Universe and one of my favorite cartoon character and villains in general. Now, some of you might be wondering, Briximus Prime, why does your channel suck? Why do you have two Skelegods? Well, as you can see,
Bruh.
The first time I ever bought this figure, the neck joint that allows for his head to pivot back and forth, the little neck joint in there, snapped on mine.
Oh, you muscle-bound oaf!
And I was really mad about it, so I had to go and find an entirely brand new one. Now, as much as the figure broke, and I'm still pissed that I had to go and buy a new one, let it be known that I love this figure so much that I was mad that when it broke, and also I was compelled within 5 minutes to get a brand new one immediately afterwards, because I love this figure that much that I needed a brand new one so immediately. And now for some quick size comparisons. Here is Skelegod with the last 6-inch figure I reviewed, just to kind of show you the scale that they're going for with the Masterverse line. Here he is with one of the last 7-inch action figures I reviewed. And then here is Skelegod with my Masters of the Universe Classics Skeletor, and then an original classic Skeletor from the 80s, who has seen better days. That is basically it for my review on the Masters of the Universe Masterverse Skelegod from Revelations. And yeah, despite the show, no thanks to you, Kevin Smith,
You furry flea-bitten fool!
the figure is really good. I like the action figure. Mattel definitely put in a lot of work into engineering this guy. I like the price that I paid for the figure. I mean, obviously the original one was $30, and I still thought it was worth it. And I really like this figure, despite having one that broke. I still really like the figure, and it hadn't changed my opinion on it. My only problem is I wish this figure had a little bit more articulation in some areas. I wish he maybe had an articulated jaw, because that was always the iconic thing about Skeletor, was his up and down moving jaw. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. This has been Briximus Prime. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How did I do on my first Masterverse review? If I had to give this figure a rating, I give him a solid 9 out of 10. And if you guys wanted to check out any of my other action figure reviews, I'll leave a link down. I'll leave a card right over here somewhere. And, yeah, thank y'all for watching. This has been Briximus Prime, and I'll catch you guys next time.